Day 3 of the 2024 Hopkinton Town Meeting opened up with Article 35 Home Rule Petition. This article would establish a tax exemption for senior citizens on school building construction projects.
First of all, I stand in support of this, and I stand in support of our town going forward and getting the state to work with us to make this happen. So I want that to be very clear. I will never benefit from it using the circuit breaker criteria or some of the others, but I support giving tax relief to our seniors who are feeling this burden.
After a failed amendment, the article passed unanimously. Article 36 by the Sustainable Green Committee further regulates design and construction projects for the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. The article raised some debate at town meeting.
I too thank the Sustainable Green Committee for their hard work and their innovation and their real efforts to move all of this whole question in a lot of ways forward. I stand in support of this article, and I personally see it as an investment, not just in my future, but in all futures. And I see that the return in terms of dollar cost and human cost, and I really appreciate you working in this hard to bring it forward again.
I'm a builder and an unrestricted construction supervisor. In the United States, we have a uniform building code. Each state may modify it to accommodate things like climate and availability of building materials. Massachusetts has some of the most stringent building codes of the country, and they were further rigidized a few years ago by the initial stretch code. Now, this new specialized stretch code adds 43 pages of red lines. These are the changes, this ain't simple, these are the changes that are over the present stretch code right now.
The article would eventually pass 170 to 94. Article 37, Community Preservation Funds, and Article 38, Community Preservation Recommendations both passed. Article 39, MBTA Communities Zoning Bylaw, was to establish zoning to follow state law established for communities in or adjacent to the MBTA to establish zoning for multifamily housing near MBTA services. The article raised a lot of debate.
As a reminder, this article does not require the town to build multifamily housing. The areas selected by the planning board make sense. They are within the spirit of the law. 2 of the 3 are within a mile of the T. But from my perspective, they're very unlikely to ever see any multifamily housing built, and here's why. So downtown would require the destruction of commercial buildings. Not very likely. There is no water or sewer in Cedar Street, nor does the town have the requirement to add water and sewer on Cedar Street, making the Carboni's property pretty much infeasible for multifamily. And the preserve, well, that's going to take 75% of the owners to agree to convert it. I don't see that happening anyway.
I've been the chair of the SAC, and I've been chair of the planning board. However, I don't agree with your premise that they aren't going to be built anytime soon. Right now, you have a DPW that's designing a water main to connect to Southborough for MWRA water that's going right down Cedar Street. And for a sewer, I can build the same package plant that they built off of Lumber Street at that apartment complex. It is very possible that if you take the Carboni property, you will see 300 plus more kids within 5 years.
After many speaking on both sides, the article would fail town meeting with 118 for and 126 against. Article 40 was to change 1 Colonial Avenue, 81 and 83 Hayden Row addresses from residential to business.
This is our access to Hayden Row. It's our only access to Hayden Row. It is our driveway that goes through, as you can see, construction. And on the next slide, next to it is our proposed trucking area. Next slide. So please vote yes, because I'd like to stay where I've always been my whole life, and I thank you for listening to me.
The article would pass after some debate 140 to 63. Article 41, amend non-criminal disposition bylaw, established a fine for violating wetlands.
The Hopkinton Wetland Protection Bylaw was promulgated promulgated prior to the establishment of the non-criminal disposition bylaw, and we believe that the Commission's omission was an administrative oversight. The Commission is requesting a $300 per day offense fine for violations of the Hopkinton Wetland Protection Bylaw.
The article passed. Article 42 General Bylaw Amendment was set forth to make it possible for non-voting Hopkinton residents to serve on town committees.
Briefly, this is an article meant to increase access and participation for residents who may be residents who may not be voters, so that they can participate by appointment on the Appropriation Committee, the Capital Improvement Committee, and the Community Preservation Committee. Currently, those committees have restrictions requiring people to be registered voters, and we would like to open it up so that residents, whether they're registered voters or not, can participate in town government.
The article passed 92 to 78. Article 43 General Bylaw Amendment attempted to allow non-voting residents to attend town meeting with seating in the main town meeting space.
Article would allow any resident to request to speak, and they may be recognized by the moderator. This is new, and it would allow non-voting residents to request to speak to an article.
Every once in a while, we're doing, let's do a voice vote, or let's do a clicker vote. So my only concern is that if somebody calls for a voice vote, how do we know that the section that's in here is not voice voting? And so we're doing a hybrid. If we, and we're getting a slippery slope to Mr. Bojijian came in up and said before, we're getting to a slippery slope. Now it's, children can come in here and come in and be recognized. Where does being a resident, being an owner, being a business owner, where does any of that take precedent? Because we're the ones that are paying the taxes.
The article failed the majority. Article 44 General Bylaw Amendment was put forward to give the Select Board authority to enforce and set leash laws.
If Article 44 passes, it would work like this. We'd propose an idea to the Select Board, the public could comment on it, and if the Select Board approves it, we'd try that idea out for a period of time. Then, if a trial works well, we could eventually submit a town meeting article for voting to make it permanent.
I would encourage everyone to vote against this where the Trails Committee doesn't have a plan in place to actually implement. I think we should leave things the way they are.
The article failed. Article 47 Accept Gift of Land Elmwood 3 Subdivision passed the majority. Article 48 Easement Lake Maspinock Dam Operations and Maintenance gifted land to Hopkinton for operations and maintenance of the dam.
It's going to improve long-term operation and maintenance. So this article is asking to allow us to get a permanent easement from the town of Milford to be able to do long-term operations and maintenance of the dam. It does not change any of the approvals that were done last year for other easements that were needed to do the maintenance of the dam and the repairs.
The article passed the majority. Article 49 Property Disposition 0 Duffield Road and 0 Beach Street was set forth to allow the town to sell or dispose of the two parcels of land.
Here back in 1998, that was all designated wetlands. We just actually had ducks have moved in now, so I would buyer beware. Thank you. Just for the record, I do not support this.
The article failed the two-third majority with 92 for and 52 against. Article 51 Amend Town Charter corrected a legal code in the town charter and passed. Date 3 of the town meeting would wrap up with a citizens petition in Article 52. Establish Government Study Committee. The article established a committee featuring one appointee by the town moderator, one by the town clerk, one by the select board, and 4 appointed by the Board of Registrars to study Hopkinton's town government and point out what could possibly be changed.
I'd like to point out that the writers of this citizen petition obviously put a lot of faith in our town clerk, because our town clerk appoints one by himself, and then he, as a member of the registrars, helps appoint 4. So that's 5 out of 7. Now, I'm on the board of registers of voters, so I guess I get to help with picking 4 people, and I'd like to thank the sponsor for having confidence in me to help select this too. Thank you very much.
The article failed with 62 for and 82 against, and that would wrap up the 2024 Hopkinton Annual Town Meeting.